Hey everyone, ready to jump into a really cool topic? We're taking a deep dive into this awesome podcast script all about learning English as a beginner.
Oh, yeah, I was looking this over earlier. Seems like it could be super helpful for anyone starting from scratch, right?
Absolutely. I mean, starting with a new language, it can feel pretty overwhelming. I know I've been there.
For sure. It's like,
Yeah.
where you even begin? This script is kind of like a roadmap, though. It lays out some clear steps to build a strong foundation.
Okay, I like that. A roadmap. So where does this roadmap actually start? What's the first landmark?
Well, right off the bat, it emphasizes setting goals,
Hmm.
which makes total sense, right? If you don't know where you're going, how do you know how to get there?
Makes sense to me, but it's got to be more than just saying, I want to learn English, right?
Exactly. The script is all about being specific. Like, what does learning English actually mean for you? Is it being able to chat with someone at a coffee shop, understanding movies without subtitles, that kind of thing?
Okay, so got to have a clear destination in mind. I'm with you. But how do you actually translate those goals into, actual language skills?
Well, the script dives into the foundational elements,
Right.
like the alphabet and pronunciation. It might seem basic, but getting those sounds right is super important.
Oh, yeah, totally. I remember struggling with rolling my R's when I tried learning Spanish. Took forever to get it right.
Exactly. And English has its own unique sounds that can trip people up. The script actually suggests practicing individual sounds, almost like warming up before a workout.
Makes sense. Got to get those vocal cords in shape. But once you nail the sounds, where do you go from there?
Then it's all about building your vocabulary, learning those common words and phrases, the everyday stuff. The script says it's amazing how quickly you can start making basic sentences with just a handful of key words.
That's reassuring. But remembering all those new words, that can be a struggle sometimes.
Totally. The script talks about using different methods for memorization, like flashcards or apps. And it really stresses repetition and incorporating new words into your daily routine.
So, like, even labeling things around your house in English. Clever.
Exactly. It's like creating your own little English world wherever you are.
Okay, this is making a lot of sense so far. But what about the grammar part? For me, that's always felt like the most intimidating part of learning a new language.
I hear you. The script tackles grammar in a really approachable way, though. It focuses on simple sentence structures and common patterns, like starting with the basics before diving into the really complicated stuff.
So, no need to memorize a bunch of grammar rules right off the bat.
Not at all. It's more about getting a feel for how the language works, recognizing patterns. And the script emphasizes that it's okay to make mistakes. Actually, it encourages it.
Seriously, make mistakes. I've always been so terrified of messing up when I'm trying to speak a new language.
I get it. But the script actually frames mistakes as a good thing. Like they're part of the learning process. It's how you figure out what you need to work on.
That's an interesting way to look at it. So it's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning from them.
Exactly. And the script gives some cool tips for actually getting that speaking practice, even if you're not surrounded by English speakers.
Okay, like what? I'm curious now.
One suggestion is to describe your daily activities in English, even if you're just talking to yourself. Like, I'm making coffee or I'm walking the dog. Simple stuff.
It's like you're narrating your own life in English.
Exactly. Sounds silly, but it gets you comfortable using the language in everyday situations.
Okay, I could see how that could be helpful. But what about interacting with real people? Is there anything about that in the script?
Oh yeah, definitely. It recommends checking out language partner apps like HelloTalk or Tandem. It's a cool way to connect with people from all over the world who are also learning English.
Sounds like a modern-day pen pal, but with speaking practice thrown in.
Exactly. And if you're feeling up for it, the script also suggests looking for local or online English clubs, places where you can practice with other learners in a more social setting.
Okay, I like that. It's like having a built-in support system, people who get the struggles and the triumphs of learning English.
Right? And it can be super motivating to connect with others who are on the same journey.
All this sounds great, but let's be real, finding the time to actually practice can be tough. How does this script address that? Because, everyone's busy.
That's where the script's emphasis on consistency over intensity comes in. It's not about spending hours and hours studying every day. It's about finding those little pockets of time, even if it's just 15 minutes here and there.
Okay, so small, consistent effort is the key.
Exactly. It's like the saying, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Even those short bursts of practice can add up over time.
I like that. It's reassuring, especially when life gets in the way. It feels less overwhelming.
And the script even provides some practical examples of how to fit those mini practice sessions into your day.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, one suggestion is to start your day by reviewing vocabulary with flashcards, while you're sipping your morning coffee.
Easy enough. What else?
It also suggests listening to English podcasts during your commute or lunch break, and even just writing a short diary entry in English before bed.
So basically, it's about turning everyday activities into language learning opportunities. I dig it.
Exactly. It's about making English a natural part of your life, not just something you study in isolation.
I'm really starting to see how this script can help break down those barriers to learning English and make it feel much more accessible and achievable.
I agree. It's like a friendly guide, encouraging you every step of the way and reminding you that anyone can learn English with the right approach and the right mindset. Okay, so we're back, ready to dig a little deeper into this English learning script.
Oh, I'm ready. In part one, we talked a lot about those foundational things like setting goals and getting a grip on the basics. But I'm really curious to hear more about those practical strategies the script mentions. The stuff that helps you actually make progress and get fluent.
You're talking about immersion, right? Creating that English bubble, even if you're not living in an English-speaking country.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do that in real life?
Well, the script encourages us to be creative, to look for those hidden opportunities to engage with English all around us.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some examples. What kind of hidden opportunities?
Well, think about your daily commute. Instead of zoning out with music in your native language, why not switch to English podcasts?
Oh, that's a good one. It's like having a conversation with a native speaker right there in your car or on the train or wherever you are.
Exactly. And there are podcasts on pretty much every topic imaginable. So you can find something that interests you, whether it's news, science, comedy, whatever.
And if podcasts aren't really your thing, could always switch your music to English songs. It's a fun way to passively absorb some vocab and get used to the rhythm of the language.
Yeah, good point. And how about this? Instead of just passively listening, actually try to understand the lyrics. Look them up online, sing along. It's like a little puzzle, unlocking the meaning behind the words.
Oh, I like that. It's a more active way to engage with the music.
And speaking of active engagement, for those who are more visual learners, the script talks about switching your TV viewing to English shows and movies.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. I've heard that's a good way to get used to different accents and pronunciations, too.
Exactly. You can start with subtitles if you need them, but the goal is to eventually wean yourself off.
Oh, and I've heard that watching cartoons can be really helpful for beginners, right? Because the language is often simpler and the visuals give you a lot of clues.
Yeah, that's a great tip. The script mentions reading too, of course, immersing yourself in English books and articles.
Yeah, but starting with something that's not too intimidating, right? Like children's books or those graded readers that are specifically designed for language learners.
Exactly. And as you get more comfortable, you can move on to more challenging stuff. Novels, magazines, newspapers. It's like building a mental library of words and phrases.
I love that, a mental library. Makes it sound less daunting, more like a collection you're building over time. Oh, and how about this? The script suggests reading aloud.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Helps with pronunciation and fluency. You can even record yourself and listen back to identify areas where you need to improve.
It's like having your own personal speech coach.
Exactly. Okay, but switching gears for a second. Remember how we talked about fitting those practice sessions into your day, even when you're busy?
Yeah, the 15-minute rule. Small, consistent effort.
Right. Well, the script gives some cool examples of how to actually do that.
Okay, hit me with those examples. I'm ready to put them into practice.
Well, one suggestion is to kickstart your day with a quick vocabulary review. Like while you're having your coffee, flip through some flashcards.
Easy enough. What else?
It also talks about listening to podcasts during your commute or lunch break, and even just writing a short diary entry in English before bed.
It's like turning everyday activities into these mini language lessons, sneaking in the practice without having to block out a huge chunk of time.
Exactly. Make it a natural part of your life. And speaking of making it fun, don't be afraid to get creative with it. The script mentions using language learning apps.
Oh, yeah. Those can be great, especially for things like vocabulary and grammar exercises. They make it feel less like studying and more like a game.
Right. And if you're feeling adventurous, why not try writing a short story or a poem in English?
It's like flexing your creative muscles in a new language. I love that.
And one more thing that the script emphasizes. Don't underestimate the power of connecting with other English speakers.
Yeah, we touched on that earlier. Finding those language partners or joining an English club.
Right. It's about stepping outside of your comfort zone and using the language in real-life situations. Plus, it can be super motivating to connect with others who are on the same journey.
It's like having a built-in support system, people who get the struggles and the triumphs of learning a new language.
And remember, celebrate those small victories along the way. Each conversation, each new word you learn, it's all progress.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing how far you've come and appreciating the journey, even with all its bumps and detours.
Exactly. And that mindset shift, that sense of accomplishment and progress, it's fuel for the long haul. Welcome back for the final part of our deep dive. It's been quite a journey exploring this script, hasn't it?
It really has. We've covered so much ground, from practical tips to mindset shifts. It's amazing how much depth there is to learning a new language.
Absolutely. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules. It's about personal growth, cultural awareness, connecting with the world in a whole new way.
And I think what really stood out to me was how the script emphasizes the power of self-belief. It's like it's constantly saying, you can do this, no matter who you are or what your background is.
Right. That's so important. It's about fostering a growth mindset, embracing challenges, believing in your ability to learn and evolve.
Because let's face it, learning a new language can be tough. There will be times when you feel frustrated, like you're not making progress. But this script reminds you that it's a journey, not a race.
And it highlights how those small, consistent efforts, those daily acts of dedication, can lead to incredible results. It's like that saying, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. You're not going to become fluent overnight. It takes time, patience, and a willingness to keep going even when it gets tough.
And the script is really good at reminding you to celebrate those small wins along the way, to acknowledge your progress, no matter how small it might seem.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in what we haven't achieved yet, to focus on those mistakes and setbacks. But celebrating those little victories, those aha moments, can make a huge difference in staying motivated.
Totally. It's like giving yourself a pat on the back for all that hard work you're putting in. And it fuels your desire to keep learning and growing.
Speaking of challenges, one thing that I think holds a lot of people back from really diving into a new language is the fear of making mistakes. I know I've definitely been there.
Oh, for sure. It's totally natural to feel that way. But this script really encourages you to reframe that fear, to see mistakes not as failures, but as valuable learning opportunities.
Yeah, it's like those mistakes are actually helping you to get better, to figure out what you need to work on. It's all part of the process.
And the script emphasizes the importance of finding a supportive learning environment, surrounding yourself with people who encourage you and make you feel comfortable taking risks, even if it means making a few mistakes along the way.
It's like creating that safe space where you can experiment and play with the language without feeling judged.
Exactly. And remember, even native speakers make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and that's okay.
It's all about embracing that imperfection and just enjoying the process of learning and growing.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways from this script. Learning English is not just about acquiring a skill. It's a journey of self-discovery, cultural exploration, and connection.
It's been such a pleasure unpacking all of these insights with you, and I hope our listeners are feeling inspired and empowered to take those first steps on their own English learning adventure.
Me too. Remember, every journey starts with a single step. So what's one small action you can take today to create a more immersive English experience for yourself?
Maybe listen to an English podcast on your way to work, or challenge yourself to read a short article in English. Every little bit counts.
Exactly. Those small, consistent efforts over time can lead to amazing results. So go out there, embrace those opportunities, and have fun with it.
That's a wrap on our deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Happy learning, everyone.